All right, everybody. I'm not going to spend too much time this week introducing my guest. Guess who's back? It's none other than Dee Whitaker by popular demand on the Healthy Reasonings podcast. Here we go.
Welcome to the Healthy Reasonings podcast with Dr. Andre. You are now listening to your number one source for clear, unfiltered conversations about your health and wellness. Join us every Tuesday for success stories, educational topics, and interviews with wellness experts from around the world. You can listen to this podcast on your computer, phone, or any other electronic device that streams podcasts, or download each episode and listen to it on the go. Let's get started with today's episode.
Dee Whitaker,
Hello, Andre. It's
live
so with
and
you.
live and in living color.
Yeah, living color. Color. Look at the walls of my office.
So the last time we did a podcast episode, you were not on video, so nobody got to see you. And I have gotten so many requests since then for when are you going to bring the doctor back? When are you going to bring the doctor back? And I said, well, I've interviewed so many doctors. Which one are you talking about? Oh, the one that spoke about emotions. And I said, well, I thought to myself, should I tell them that she's not a doctor or should I just let it slide? Because Dee, you have accumulated so much knowledge and experience. It's just a pity that they couldn't just put you in a fast track program to demonstrate it and then get your what do you call it, degree in psychology. Because you've been doing emotional coaching for how many years now?
Probably about 16.
Oh wow, that's crazy. And how many years have you been doing, like, what do you call it? Counseling. I think that's a loaded question.
Well, and I tell people I'm not a therapist.
Yes.
I'm a coach, but I am a coach in many regards. I'm the type of person that it's my personality, the type loves to learn,
Yes.
loves to teach. And so when I see a new certification or anything that I think is going to help my clients, I'll go ahead and take the course, get certified, and add it to, the itinerary. Because what I find is, at first I thought, let me just be an emotional wellness coach, because it doesn't matter and where you are in the world, and I work with people all over the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what culture, what language you speak, because we all have one thing in common, and that's emotions. And so, and emotions can make us or break us. And so this is what actually God gave me. He said, you're going to be going into Christian coaching, and I want you to specialize in emotions, thoughts and emotions. And then I added on some additional types of work, such as personality typing, Christian personality typing, helping people understand why they think, feel, and behave the way they do.
Yeah.
And giving them the path to growth for personal growth and spiritual growth. And it just depends on the person, actually what they need. Some people have had kind of a rough childhood, so they have some negative beliefs about themselves, maybe about the world. They're called limiting beliefs. Some people believe that, let's say, that they're not good enough, right? So we work toward that of saying that's basically a lie,
Yeah.
and bringing them into the fact that, God loves them. God created them. There's so many scriptures in the Bible that talks about what can mere mortals do to us. They are so worried about what other people think. And it's really an education in you think that you have to be this way. It's like you're in a little box and you have to be this way. And then when I show you the whole program, you're like, you mean I can be that way and that way and that way? I said, yeah, you can be many ways because you have different personality types that you connect with in your personality type. Some are not healthy, some are very healthy, and I show you all of that, and it's a great way to grow and prosper. So,
So, guys, we are not even 5 minutes in, and Dee Whitaker is already dropping nuggets. And the beautiful thing about Dee Whitaker is she doesn't even realize she's doing it, because unlike most coaches, emotional coaches, she is talking about life as she has lived it. So she's not just reading out of a textbook. And so it comes naturally for her to speak this way because she is living it every day.
oh yeah.
And and so
I have a good time with my clients. My personality is full of joy and fun, and so I can even have, like someone like Eeyore show up, when the world is coming to an end, and I'll understand them pretty quickly. I can read people pretty quickly.
yeah.
But with my personality type, I see the joy in everything, and I see the beauty in each individual. How God created them, and that's what I get to show them, to teach them, is a different mindset. There's two different mindsets. One's learning and open, one's closed and blaming. So, do we want to stay in that blaming, shaming, mindset, or do we want to grow and that's where all the possibilities are, and the growth is. Yeah, that's another thing I do is mindset work.
So while we're on that topic, Dee Whitaker, really, you have become, well, I know you're too modest to accept this otherwise, so I'll say it in front of 1,000 people who are watching this podcast. But you've become somewhat of a secret weapon for me and a couple of my colleagues for dealing with cancer patients. And that's really been in the past 4 or 5 years that we've been able to get that kind of a support system in place because of the hard work that you've done to gather all of this wisdom and experience. So now I can feel as if, well, my healthy reasoners know that there are 4 aspects to a good cancer treatment protocol. One is, and I hear them saying it, but I'll repeat it nonetheless. One is an effective way to kill cancer cells. 2 is a way of cleaning up the damage that you do using good detox. 3 is good nutrition and repair to ensure that the damaged areas are fixed. But 4, Dee Whitaker, is good spiritual and emotional support. So
That's true.
So for a cancer treatment, the support that you have provided to my patients is priceless and has led to a lot of my success stories, as you're well aware, but will never admit.
Well, I see us all working as a team together.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. So here's a question for you now. Long ago, you made mention to me that you have observed that a lot of the cancer patients that I refer to you are what we call a type 2 Enneagram. And we touched on it a little bit in the last podcast, episode 8. For those of you who are on top of the game, you can go back and listen to episode 8. But now, if you're watching episode 33, just know that we're getting Dee Whitaker on video. So if you're on Spotify, or naturally if you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing her live and in living color. If not, too bad for you. And Dee Whitaker.
It's colorful here. It is colorful.
And so the question is for Dee. What is a type 2 and what is a type 2 personality on Enneagram? And how do you think, based on your experience, how do you think this impacts on the development of cancer?
A lot of people think that they have to just watch what they eat. They just have to exercise. They have to get good sleep. And that's it to beat cancer. And get the right treatment, right? Receive the right treatment. But there are even studies that show, that I've found recently, that talk about emotions in cancer. because let me explain what happens. Now, it depends on your personality type. There's 9 different personality types, and there's a number of what we call defense mechanisms on how we treat the way we look at the world and what type of emotion, excuse me, I've been talking all day,
Oh yeah, me too. Oh, that makes two of us.
and what type of emotion or emotions are we most prone to be thinking and feeling.
Wow.
And so this is what happens. If we get sad, mad, angry, feel shame,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to have emotions with that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And most people think, well, if I just ignore it or stuff it or deny it, that the emotions will go away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, newsflash, folks, they don't go away.
Yeah.
They don't go away. They sit in our body. And the more we discount our emotions and deny and ignore our emotions, the more that's stored in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start feeling pain in the body. We might have a tense neck. We might have tense shoulders or a knee that's bothering us. Now, I'm not saying everything is emotions, but I can't tell you the number of people that when I start working with them, they'll say, oh man, my neck is so sore, or I've got a sore throat and I can hardly talk. I said, don't worry about it. I said, because we're going to clear that out. And they said, but I've got a sore throat and I can't talk.
Because they're thinking like the treatment for a sore throat is antibiotics, right?
Right. And just to be quiet. And just to be quiet. So with the work that I do, I don't know if anyone's heard of Carolyn Leaf. She's a Christian neuroscientist. And
Yeah.
I use some of her techniques. I use neuroscience techniques to calm the mind. You've got to start there with the mind.
Yeah.
And then the mind lets the body know that everything's okay.
Yeah.
So when going back to stored emotions, so when we have all these stored emotions and we start feeling a little creaky in our body, this is what's happening. The more emotions that we hold,
Mm-hmm.
the more pain we're going to feel, the less we're going to have, the less sleep we're going to have,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to start overreacting much faster than we would if our body was clear of emotions and our mind was calm.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one part of our brain called the amygdala, which is the threat center. It's the fight flight. And it only has 2 speeds. Threat and no threat. That's it. That's it. It's not like stop and go and coast. No, it's either this is a threat or it's not. So when it's a threat, this is what that part of the brain does. It cues the body to get ready for the fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
And it cues the body to create more cortisol and adrenaline to flow through our body to get us ready to move, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that too can wear down our body along with a lot of emotions. It can wear down our immune system. It can go after organs in the body, like the liver or the stomach or the heart. If you ask a heart surgeon what to do for your heart, let's say you're having an issue with your heart, the first thing he'll usually say is, get rid of your stress.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Most doctors say that now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what causes stress? Emotions and thoughts. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can start realizing what those thoughts are and even write them down, in a little journal and keep track of that, that's the first step, because self-awareness is the first step to healing. You've got to know what you're thinking and what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I start there. I help people with that. Some people know, some people don't. There are certain personality types that don't know what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. I know going in what personality type they are, so I can help them with that. And then we work toward really just releasing a lot of this in your body, where your body feels calm and you don't have all these aches and pains.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to, sleep much better and sleep soundly.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the mind is concerned, if it's calm, then the body's calm. If it's not calm, then the body's not going to be calm. Yeah,
That's
that's how it works. That's how it works.
So So tell me a little bit about, because you've taught me a lot over the past 2 years. Full disclosure, Dee has taught me a lot both as a colleague and also as my own coach. So for those of you who are wondering, yes, I believe that much in what she's doing, that she actually helps me with my own emotions. And the reason why that's necessary is because I consider the journey of helping a patient to heal from cancer as just that. It's a journey where we're both walking together.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's the three of us walking together. It's me, the patient, and Dee Whitaker. So, in order for me to be able to stay emotionally healthy to do my part of the work, I have to have a coach as well. And one of the things that Dee taught me is that being a type 2, which I think you said is a helper,
Mm-hmm.
is not the. I mean, I'm probably asking you a question here, but I'll save it for the next episode we do, because I'll just ask you. You have just simply mentioned that a lot of my patients that I refer to you are type 2s,
Mm-hmm.
which means they're mainly helpers.
Mm-hmm.
But you also made a loaded statement, which I touched on last episode as well, which is you said that a lot of my Jamaican patients
Mm-hmm.
are type 2s, which are helpers, and mainly my female Jamaican patients.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening there?
Okay, so we're gonna have this little playtime right now. I'm gonna take you on a little journey. I want everybody to close their eyes,
Hmm.
and I want you just to pretend what I'm gonna tell you, that you're this type of person. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You wake up in the morning and you can't wait to get up and start bustling around the house or the apartment. And you want to make breakfast, and you want to get the kids off to school, and you want to make sure hubby's okay. And then you're going to clean the house a little bit before you leave to go maybe work a full-time job. And then at work, you are always there to give advice, to help another coworker on projects. You thrive in helping. You can't imagine doing anything else but helping others. And because you are a helper, you have a very unique gift that no other personality type has.
Hmm.
And that's that you can sense what other people need. Sometimes you can sense what they're feeling, and that might even transfer over to you. And you can also sense not only what they need, but find a way to really help them. This type of person, when we talk about the orientation of time,
Hmm.
thinks in the present moment. So when you're thinking right here, right now, everything is more intense to you and has more meaning than thinking more like past focused or future focused.
Hmm.
Okay? And so these people have an intensity about them. A lot of them have a lot of energy. And they just love writing down a list and getting everything done on their list. It like makes their day.
Mm-hmm.
They thrive on helping others. They thrive on other people saying, "Oh, you have been such a help. Oh, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. I know I can depend on you." That's what makes a helper feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
And love is the most important thing to a helper, being appreciated and being loved.
Hmm.
So, often it is the culture that we grow up in where we might pick this up, let's say, from mom. Mom was a helper.
Hmm.
Dad was a helper, you know? And so we learn pretty early on that if I'm a helper, if that's my personality type, and I'm going to go where I feel loved, because that's so important to a helper, then most of the time it's somebody's going to give you something to do if you ask if you can help, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So kids learn pretty early that are helpers that if they ask, is there anything I can do, or what can I do, or they automatically notice what to do without even asking, they get a lot of praise. Hopefully they get praise. And that's what makes a helper just feel so useful and so loved. But because they're present tense focused, it's almost like immediate. It's not like they're going to say, no, I'm going to do that next week, because that would be more of a future focused person.
I
Or,
got you.
yeah, I did that about 2 weeks ago. That's more of a past focused person. I don't need to do that again. I don't need to clean that. But because everything is right in front of them, it can become pretty intense for a helper because they never feel like they can do enough. And this is what happens. If you help and help and help and don't let people know what you need and don't let people help you, you're going to burn out. And so the helpers that I see are usually are women and have cancer. Usually it's breast cancer, and they're just worn out. Sometimes they even feel resentful because you know what? I have spent my whole life helping other people, and here I am sick, and this is what I get? This is the reward that I have for doing all that for other people? And so I take these resentful, sometimes angry, sometimes sad women, and I teach them, first and foremost, to learn to take care of themselves. And that's a hard job because God created them to help, so they think of other people first instead of thinking about themselves. So I want you to think about it this way. On a health dynamic, or let's say a health scale, let's start at the unhealthy level of a helper. It's where they have to help. It's like an obsession. It's like, I'm not doing my job if I can't help. I'm not being the person God created me to be if I can't help. So they're always obsessing about helping, and they don't feel worthwhile unless they do a lot of helping. The next level is, kind of an average level where a lot of us live, and that's instead of needing to help, they want to help. They want to help. It takes a lot of the burden off of them of trying to go find people that need help. I had one gentleman who, we were talking about his wife, and I knew she was a helper. He said, she brings home all this emotion and energy from other people's problems. I said, what do you mean? He said, she just sits down and tells me everything. And I said, what happens to you? He said, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
And so they don't even know that they're carrying this with them. They don't know it's an obsession. Well, my mom used to do that. My aunt used to do that. That's what my sister does. Well, maybe they don't do it to the degree that you do it. Right? Then the highest level of health and growth is where you're available to help. When it's good for you and good for the other person. Because sometimes helpers can be a little intrusive. Like, no, don't worry about it. I know how to cook this. I'm going to fix it just right. Or, no, I know how to raise that child. You don't have to tell me how to raise that child. They get a little prideful. And, all I want them to do is just be happy, feel peace, and live their life. And stop worrying so much about, absolutely helping people until they drop.
Yeah.
So that's generally what happens. And when I tell these women that and you can look it up, there is a certain type that they have realized that has more cancer, more bouts of cancer than other types. It's a helper.
That's actually the question I was trying to avoid asking you.
Okay.
So you tackled it for me. So I didn't want to be the one to ask it, but you went there, so I'm happy.
Well, you can go on the internet. You'll see it.
Yeah.
You'll see it. It's not, it's not new news. I mean, there's a lot of articles about this.
Yeah.
And they even have a name for the type of helper, or the helper.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's learning that, God loves you and wants you to prosper, right? And that you are precious in His sight. And that He doesn't want you, wearing yourself out. Or feeling like you have to do all this or feel obligated to do all this to be liked or to be loved or to feel good about yourself. Yeah.
All right, guys. So it's 24 minutes in, and I'm honestly quite shocked by that because I felt like it's only been 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah.
But that's how it is when you talk with somebody who knows what they're talking about. And our promise to you on this podcast is to give you clear, unfiltered information about your health and wellness. And there's no better person to ask that than somebody who lives what they teach.
Mm-hmm.
And Dee Whitaker is one such example. So we're going to take a quick break just to hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. Quick break.
In a world that moves too fast, it's easy to lose touch with what truly matters, your well-being. At Teshuva Wellness, we believe in a return to balance, to healing, to your best self. Our holistic approaches nurture not just your body, but also your soul. Whether you're seeking peace, energy, or a deeper connection, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Our medical experts specialize in holistic treatments for chronic diseases, ranging from autoimmune illnesses to cancer. Our treatments are safe, non-toxic, and effective. Because at Teshuva Wellness, your journey to wellness is our greatest commitment. Visit our website today at teshuvawellnessja.com or call 1-876-787-8197. That's 1-876-787-8197. Teshuva Wellness. Return to health. Return to your best self.
All right, guys. So I managed to convince Dee Whitaker to take a break from her busy schedule. And I squeezed some time out of my busy schedule to ensure that I brought the greatest value to you, healthy reasoners. And Dee Whitaker is somebody who is a treasure trove of information. And I didn't want to wait until her schedule got more packed up. So she said she could do it today. And I said, let's go. And we're talking about type 2s today for a little bit longer. And Dee made the statement earlier that she helps the type 2, particularly the women, to regain their peace and their joy. And I'm sure if you're listening to this and you feel like you're a type 2, the first question you're going to ask is, well, how does she do that? Because I need that quickly. I need to get out of this cycle of helping people all the time. Because deep down, I know that I would love to put myself first, but I don't know how to.
Okay.
So Dee, how do they do this?
For each personality type, I have a set of tools, First of all, with a helper, we have to get into the aha moment that I don't really have to be like this. I don't really have to slave over, all day and then slave at home at night. And I can ask for what I want. And here's the biggie. I can tell people about my needs.
Ooh.
Instead of them telling me. That's a big aha moment for them. So we work on, the helper also is in what we call the shame triad. So if any emotion comes up, it could be, shame, like I'm not doing enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not loved. So we work on that. We also work on I call them, everybody's heard of Spider-Man, and it's the spidey sense that he has. So I tease type 2 helpers and tell them you have this spidey sense, that nobody else has. And it's you being able to sense what people need. Now, that can be a gift and can also be a curse.
Yeah.
Because it can dog you if you let it. Because it can make you feel like you're responsible for that when you're really not.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes helpers can pick up on the emotions of other people. And if it's negative emotions, they feel it, and it's like they absorb into themselves. So I have to teach them how not to do that, and what to do if you've picked up too many emotions from someone else. They're very sensitive people, very sensitive people. And so another thing that I do is I do mindset work. There's two different types of mindset. One is positive, open learning. The other one is judging, blaming, and closed. And it really depends on how we look at the world. A lot of it, too, is how we grew up, who our sphere of influence was. So I help them with that, go more toward more of an open mindset, learner mindset. And I do question thinking, which gives them a list of quick questions they can ask themselves. If they find that they're assuming or judging, and get out of that judgment and assuming, and get more into being curious and knowing what the facts are instead of assuming you know what the facts are. That really helps people kind of snap out of that judging or, I know what they need kind of, mindset. So I do that work. I also do neuroscience work that literally calms the mind first, because then the brain calms the body. I do a lot of that work, and that helps with pain. It helps with confused thinking. It helps with understanding what you really want to think and what you really need, instead of just guessing. So much of our life is just assuming and guessing. Somebody, a helper came in the other day or talked to me the other day and was saying, I have this new boss and I already know she doesn't like me. I said, really? And she said, yeah. I said, well, tell me about that. She said, well, she's just kind of grouchy and when she looks at me, it's like she's picking on me. And I said, what you're doing is you're picking up on her unhappy emotions.
Ooh.
I said, and let me teach you a way that you don't have to pick up on them. She said, oh, that would be such a blessing. So when we started working together, she texted me the other day and said, hey, Dee, you're not going to believe this. My boss came in here huffing and puffing, moving some machinery, and they work in a hospital, moving some machinery and getting frustrated. And I just sat there and thought, this is her stuff, not mine.
Oh, yeah.
These are her feelings, not mine, and I don't have to take it on. She was a helper. I don't have to take it on.
Nice.
So it was like this big, huge moment for her that she didn't have to be responsible for this crabby person. And she didn't have to try to fix her. So I do a lot of that. We do, I also do Bible studies with people I'm doing one right now about trusting God. Anything that comes up in someone's life that has to deal with emotions, personal growth, thoughts, mindset, even parenting. Let me get into this a little bit. When I type you, I'm also going to type you if you're a parent and show you how you can parent your child in a healthy way. A lot of parents are short-tempered these days because they've got so much on them, or they're quick to judge, or they assume that their child is going to act this way or grow up to be this way. And I show them also, I'll type their child if they're a certain age, and then I show the parent how to parent that child in their personality type. How to be a great parent, because they're going to understand their child better than they ever have. So I do a lot of that too.
So Dee Whitaker, one of the things I've never said to you is, and you probably will never admit this, but I think, Dee, you get different levels when you work with Dee. Whether you want to admit it or not, you give people what they're ready for, don't you?
Well, even if they're not ready for it. Sometimes the Holy Spirit just comes right in. I'm about to tell you something. Surprise you. And they're like, how did you know that?
Yeah.
But it's all in fun and it's all in love. And we have a great time together. And I work, with everybody from pastors to teachers to, nurses, any walk of life. Where even moms that just want to stay home with their kids, but they're burned out, or they're tired, or they're frustrated with their kids because their kids won't listen, for example. So I work a lot with with moms like that too, that really need some help in understanding themselves and understanding their kids. Yeah.
So, all right, I think we've created enough value in this episode. It's 36 minutes, I think. I think that's pretty good. We have our Weird and Wonderful session coming up.
Okay.
Healthy Reasoners already know what this is about. I don't think Dee Whitaker really does, because she's too busy to watch all of our other episodes. So we're going to have some real fun in
Okay.
our weird and wonderful session coming up right after this break. See you in 2 minutes or less.
Healthy Reasoners. You asked and we listened. After enjoying today's episode, you can now send Dr. Andre your comments via WhatsApp. That's right, WhatsApp your comments or voice messages to us at 1-876-405-7831. In fact, take a moment to send us a WhatsApp right now. If it's really good, Dr. Andre will read it in the next episode. Once again, that's 1-876-405-7831. Send us your message now. We can't wait to hear from you.
And we're back with the lovely Dee Whitaker, who I'm guessing, God's willing, will be invited back yet again because she just stirred up an ant's nest of questions, I'm sure, for anybody who's listening who is a type 2. Or even if you're not a type 2, I'm sure you know somebody who is. So maybe towards the end, we're going to ask Dee how we can get in touch with her. But for now, we're not going to let her escape the wrath that is the weird and wonderful section of our episode. And so, Dee, the weird and wonderful section is simply this. You get to ask me 2 personal questions.
Oh,
and,
good.
and I get to ask you 2 personal questions. And the whole aim is that they should not be invasive or embarrassing or anything caused to, with an intention to create any embarrassment. However, we want to know something about you that probably the average person would not know. So your choice is you can ask me the first question or I can ask you the first question. But either way, there are going to be 4 questions asked.
Okay. And they're all in good fun. Is that what you want? All in good fun?
All in good fun. Everything is good fun, but we're not going to ask you like where did you go to high school or something random like that. No, we're going to ask you something that's a little bit more personal, like what's your favorite type of pizza? Yeah. So we're aiming for those kind of things that nobody really knows.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I don't know if a lot of people know this about you,
Oh boy.
but what do you like to do in your leisure time?
Aha, leisure time. Well, there's 2 answers. There's the answer that I should give because I've been working with Dee, and there's the correct answer. So so the truthful answer is I like to write music, compose music. But the answer I should give because Dee is asking is I like to listen to music because listening doesn't require me to work as hard. And with my personality type, I need to take time to decompress.
Yeah, his personality type is a very hard worker.
Yeah. So for those who want to look it up, it's a type.
Type 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Top 5.
So
Okay.
I have to manage myself well. My
Okay.
question for Dee.
Okay.
Let's go. So my question to you is, I suspect that you like ice cream. I don't know for sure, but I suspect it. So my question is, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Anything that has caramel in it.
Caramel. Huh.
It can be chocolate and caramel, vanilla and caramel. As long as it's got caramel in it.
I didn't see that coming.
Oh, you thought it was going to be chocolate?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say like pistachio. To be honest, it seemed so adventurous. Pistachio ice cream. Okay. Anything with caramel. So you're really more of a toppings person.
Well, actually, I don't eat a lot of ice cream.
Oh wow.
Only on the holidays. I'll have a little bit of some type of dessert, but I'm trying to, I'm 73, and I'm trying to be more intentional about eating more vegetables, more fruit,
Yeah.
all
Okay.
those things. And I used to have a real sweet tooth. I mean, I was a chocoholic. And
Okay.
so if I can stop being a chocoholic, anybody can.
But you probably use all your nice
I used all
emotional
my techniques, yeah,
techniques to help you.
to get rid of my chocolate obsession. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Okay. So I'll bear that in mind. So you actually don't eat much ice cream, but if you did, it would be anything with caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
So healthy reasoners, I hope you see what just happened there because I would not have predicted that, and also we got a deeper answer than we were planning.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, just to push this a little bit more to get to ridiculous. Suppose it was broccoli flavored ice cream, but with caramel on top.
Well, the way I think about it is I use butter in my cooking. Okay,
Hmm.
so if it was caramel with a little bit of butter and broccoli, it probably tastes pretty good.
Okay, fine. You win. You win. I was trying to throw you a curveball there, but it didn't work.
No, and see this, but I want you to understand, folks. This is the mindset that I want everybody to have.
Hmm.
I want people to be open. I want people to be adventurous. I want people to, it's not like the little kid that will only eat like one food, right?
Hmm.
I think we all went through that phase, evidently, when we were little.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that there's a whole wide world out there, and it can be such an adventure and so much fun and have so much joy.
Yeah.
That's what I want to bring to people, is to
Yeah.
open them up. I had a pastor the other day that said, I said, what do you need for us to work on? She said, I need more joy in my life
Nice.
because I'm pastoring to everybody, and hearing all their problems and trying to help them with that. I need more joy in my life.
Hmm.
And so she's not a helper, but she's similar to a helper.
Hmm.
And I gave her some ideas of things she could do. She tried it, and she's much more joyful.
Of course. Of
Hmm.
course.
Hmm.
Of course.
Yeah, we don't have to live in this tough, thick-skinned frame of reference of life. I've got to be tough and rough, and and somebody's going to hurt me, or someone
Hmm.
has hurt me, and I don't want to be hurt again, or I don't ever want that to happen or this to happen. We
Hmm.
all have things like that in our past. But are you going to let them define you, or are you going to move beyond those and to find a new way of living
Hmm.
that's more purposeful, more intention, more full of trust, more full of joy? That's where I like to go with my clients.
Hmm. Hmm. So, nonetheless, Dee, you will not escape my weird and wonderful. So I think it's your turn to ask me.
Okay. Um, okay, I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask. When was a time that you got in the water and you were very adventurous that people don't know about?
So, are you talking about actual water?
Hmm.
That's a very good question, actually. So, the thing is that Dee has her notes, so she actually knows the
No, I
answer
just
now.
no, I just pulled it out of my memory. Your
So
your
now I have
wife
to.
sent me a picture of you actually doing this.
Huh. That's puzzling to me.
You want a hint?
Yes?
It was in a stream or like a creek, not a real
Oh,
big.
yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, I got you. So, yeah, I remember that now. Thanks for reminding me. So,
Hmm.
we went on a river tour, and
Hmm.
apparently there was an underground tunnel that you could swim through
Hmm.
in the river. And the tour guide asked if anybody wanted to try doing it. And I said, sure. And everybody looked at me like, are you crazy? And I said, nope, I think I could do it. Because the tunnel was about maybe 3 feet in length. So I figured I could hold my breath that long. So I dove down and he dove with me and he pushed me through the tunnel. And of course, to the people on the surface, they're like, oh my God, is he going to come back up? And then when I eventually did, everybody kind of gave a loud round of applause. And oh my God, he actually did it. And that was a good day, actually.
Yeah, you felt I could, you had a big smile on your face.
I did. I did. I need to
You
find that
did
video.
something unexpected. You didn't do it with fear. You had
Hmm.
someone to support you. You know,
Yes.
he was there to, kind of guide you along
Yes.
through the tunnel, and that's a life living experience.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think if I can, I'm going to try and find that video and play it for the healthy reasoners so they could
I
see
think
it
that's
in
a great
action.
idea.
Yeah. All right, that's refreshing. All right, so here's your final question, and then
Okay.
we're gonna ask you to let us know how people can get in touch with you because it's been 47 minutes, and it feels like it's been 5, to be quite honest, and I'm sure you healthy reasoners will agree. So you shall not escape the last question, Dee. And the last question is, if you could choose to visit anywhere in the world, or let's make it even more interesting, in the universe, that you've never been to, where would you want to visit?
Mm,
Heaven is not an option because that's inevitable.
mm. It would probably be somewhere in Europe,
Nice.
but it wouldn't be the hustle bustle of the big cities and the cafes. And, I'm originally from Atlanta, so I've had all of that big city. But I would love to know, just go to some small villages where people are connected and there's a big sense of community
Yeah.
and everybody looks out for each other. And I'm sure there's a lot of helpers in those communities. And just feel the love, just
Yeah.
be part of the community, learn maybe a little bit of a new language or eat some of their food or learn their customs.
Hmm.
I think that would be just such a joy for me.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Oh
Hmm.
wow. That is um yeah, I'm picturing have you watched this Netflix episode called The Blue Zones?
No, but I know about the blue zones.
Yeah. There's one of them called Sardinia, I think it is.
Okay.
It's between Greece and Italy, I think, and that sounds like exactly what you've described.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And it's true. There's certain places in the world where people live a lot longer
Mm-hmm.
and they don't stress out,
Yep.
and they
Yep.
eat a very healthy diet. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yep.
there's a
Yep.
lot of community support.
I think
A
that's
lot,
it.
yeah, during COVID, a lot of people felt real alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some people, what I've heard is the kids, like the teenagers, not only had a hard time then, but they're still having a hard time
Mm.
being isolated like that,
Mm-hmm.
since they were so used to being around friends,
Mm-hmm.
school, and all of that. It can really affect some personality types.
Mm.
So, what I would suggest is dream about what it is that you want. Dream about what it is that's going to not just make you happy, but it's
Mm.
going to make you feel fulfilled.
Mm.
What can you do intentionally? Learn a new language. Learn to deal with your emotions. Learn how to help someone with something. But the more you are intentional about your life,
Mm.
the more purpose you'll have, and the better you'll feel about yourself and the world.
Mm.
Hmm.
Dee, how can people? Well, I'm gonna ask you a difficult question so that we don't have a rush of clients. How many people can you reasonably help per, let's say per week? How many people do you think, if everybody who is listening to this episode was able to get in touch with you, at some point you're gonna have to have a cutoff. So, how many people do you think you could manage?
Well, I usually work with about 2 to 3 people a day.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
15, 16,
Yeah.
something like that. Hmm.
That's reasonable. So,
Hmm.
guys, if you're listening, it means that at some point you're gonna join a join a waiting list. So that means you want to be in that first 15. And from experience, I can also suspect that after a while you'd probably have to lower that number again because then you'd have X amount for the week, X amount for the month, and then it kind of gets out of control
Yeah,
after a
because
while.
usually, people, I mean, you can come and work with me for one session, but
Yeah,
the full extent of what I
ex-
can teach you and what you can
exactly,
learn, it needs to be more than,
exactly,
one
exactly.
session.
Yeah.
And so I encourage people to do that if they can, or we can just work on their specific
Yep.
situation,
Yep.
in one session. But what I want to do is I want to, I feel like I'm kind of like a, what was the term you used? Not spiritual mom, but what did you call a godmother?
Godmother, yeah.
Godmother.
Yeah.
And I want to help my children just be so well-rounded and so fulfilled, with their life, no matter what they're doing, no matter what they're doing. So that's what I strive for. It's not just, okay, how do I get rid of the anger? I mean, we can do that, but what makes you happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So many
Yeah.
people say, I don't know. So I help people find really what is inside of you that hasn't come out yet that's going to really make you shine, make you
Yeah.
feel, that I'm here for a reason and I'm having a blast while I'm doing it.
How do people get in touch with you? I normally just give them your phone number and say, you need to
That's
call
fine.
this lady.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
I
it's-
live in the U.S.
Hold on, I'm going to tell you from my head because I give it out so often. So to get in touch with Dee Whitaker, Healthy Reasoners, it's 919-622-5183.
Very good. And you can call me on WhatsApp.
Yep.
You can
Yep.
call me on WhatsApp. And we'll just have a nice conversation and find out what your needs are. Even if you don't know what your needs are, you'll know what you want to work on, and we'll go from there. Really, it's a very relaxed setting, and we have a lot of fun
Oh, yeah.
on top of everything else.
Oh, yeah. My patients always come back laughing. It's kind of hilarious because I tell them, I just give them a random number and say, call this lady.
Yeah,
It's kind of
and they say, I'm supposed to call you.
it's kind of like a drug deal, right? Like just call this person and just respond when they answer. It feels like one of those crime shows or like you step into a dark alley and you just stand up and wait. Or when they tell them to, there's this always thing where you're supposed to deliver a package and you stand in the middle of the park. Somebody will call you. So sometimes that's what the patients think, I'm sure. Like, why is he telling me to call this random number? Anyway, guys. So,
One of the biggest compliments I ever had was I called this lady. Andre said, just call her. She's expecting your call. And we had, the most delightful 5-10 minute conversation. And I was laughing, and she said, you know what? I feel like I've already had a session
ooh.
because I'm so filled with, with joy right now. And that's my gift. That's my gift to the world, and I want to share it with others. So
Amen.
we'll leave it
Amen.
at that.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, you know how to get in touch with her. Dee, thank you so much for taking what has been 54 minutes out of your schedule to help us. I'm sure you're going to get lots of calls, so look out for that. I hope maybe you can hire me as an assistant or something. So
There you go.
and we'll take it from there. Thank you so much, Dee. We love you, and we look forward to having you again.
Okay. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Healthy Reasonings podcast. Remember to subscribe to this podcast so you can be updated as soon as new episodes are ready. If you have a question, send us a voice note on WhatsApp or a WhatsApp message. The WhatsApp number is 1-876-405-7831. For more information or to become a sponsor, please email wellnessdocjamaica@gmail.com. See you soon.